Welcome to VPG's Virtual Water Cooler Chat Podcast, a platform that features professionals across a variety of industries and promotes growth mindset principles with a central pillar of championing the achievements of women. Our conversations explore a wide spectrum of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, creating a vibrant mosaic that enriches our collective understanding and strengthens our commitment to growth and empowerment.
Today, VPG founder Ashley Chung is speaking with Dr. Wayne So, one of the founding partner of Bayes PLLC. Dr. So has 15 years of experience in patent practice, including patent procurement, client counseling, patent portfolio management and transactions, post-grant proceedings before the Patent Trial and Appeal Board of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. He has developed and managed patent portfolios, each including thousands of patents for multiple clients, and prepared and prosecuted thousands of patent applications in electrical, software, medical device, and business methods fields, and has extensive technical experience in the multiple areas, including semiconductors, biosensors, and telecommunications. Let's get started.
Good morning, Wayne. Thank you so much for being here today.
Morning, Ashley. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Wouldn't have it any other way. Is this your first podcast interview?
I think so, yeah. At least the formal one like this is the first time.
It's not so formal. It's a virtual water cooler chat. And it's in person. So I thought that it was like really interesting to experiment in an in-person setting that is not a deposition. Can you share your story about how you get into patent law and how did you decide to move from China to the States?
I think I do have actually a story to share, a personal story, but it's probably going to be a pretty long one, so we can start part by part. But I think the first part is actually exactly what you were asking. I just realized that I came to the United States in 2003. That was when I was 22 years old after I graduated from college. And I just had my 44th birthday 2 weeks ago. So you see, I spent like 22 years in China and now 22 years in the United States. So about exactly half and half.
Balance.
Yeah, exactly. But as you can imagine, so I continue staying in the United States. I will have actually stay longer in the US than in China. Sometimes when I still think about like 22 years ago. At that time, actually in China, people, especially the students at those elite school, I think their first choice after they graduate is to study abroad, especially to the United States, because that's the most advanced country in the world. So it's kind of like a trend at that time. So it's also a kind of like a first choice for me. And I think another reason, besides that, following the trend, is also I went to the college at the same city where I was growing up. So it was kind of like to go to a different new place. And United States probably the furthest I can go. That's on the opposite side from China in the earth. So that's probably the two major reasons that motivated me to went to United States at the time.
What city did you go to when you first come to the States?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's quite different from China, definitely.
Yes.
And it's actually quite different from many of the cities in the States. So how did you adjust when you first came at 22 years old?
I don't think actually I need quite some adjustment when I came to here. One of the reasons is because we at the university, right, studied at the college, so there are not much difference between from school to school, even at the different countries. And also, I think they have a very, very good community there. Both the Chinese community, Asian community, and also the international community there. To be honest, I don't feel that quite a difference. I mean, of course, there is some like language barrier that when you go to the school, like you have to talk in English, different language. But other than that, I don't see quite a difference. I would say I'm kind of a person that I'm not afraid of change or new things. Actually, I'm the person like I like try new things. So no matter it's food or meet new people or doing different things. So So to me, it's more like excitement instead of like scary or uncertainty at that time.
That's really interesting. You choose the word excitement versus fear or nervous, because it's psychologically, it makes a huge difference. I mean, there's actually studies about that. If people, before they go into a situation, if they use the word like nervous or anxious, then they kind of reframe their mindset to be sort of in respond to that, versus if you decided to do like, oh, I'm excited about this opportunity, then it puts such a positive spin to things. So maybe that's why you became a patent attorney, which we'll find out later. What did you study when you were in China?
You mean my major?
Yeah.
That's electrical engineering.
And then when you came to the States, did you just did a more advanced degree in that?
Yeah. I went to the Ph.D. program also for electrical engineering.
Then why patent law?
That's actually, I think I forgot to mention that when I was in China, even though my major was electrical engineering, I also got a minor degree in law at that time. So actually, even before I at the high school, when I entered into the college, I actually have two choices: either study law or study engineering. So law is always being something that I like, and so at the end of my PhD program, when I started to think about my future career, and when I learned there is a career path that you can go work at a law firm as at the time we called a technical specialist or scientific advisor. And so I think that's actually a perfect fit for me based on my experience and my interest and my background. So I think become kind of a natural choice for me. So I don't even think about the other options at that time. But I do have other options like academic or industry. But when I learned there is such a path that you can even start to work on the area before you go to law school. Sometimes the firm can even pay for the tuition for you to go to law school.
That's the best.
Yeah. So it's become kind of like a nature choice for me to do that.
Do you have any family members or friends that are lawyers?
Not real. I mean, not family member, but I do have some friends that in area. And actually, the other founding partner of our firm, Mandy, she went exactly the same career path, and probably 1 or 2 years ahead of me. So that's another reason is I learned this career path from her as well. So and also a few other friends who also follow the same career path. So that's another reason, or the sources where I learned those kind of career paths, and especially the people who have successfully did that before.
I see, because there were many guests, especially Asian Americans. We don't always have like attorneys in our circle as a role model. Right. So sometimes I'm very intrigued as to how people decided to get into that particular career path. So I think part of it, like you said, is the community, the Asian American or the international community that kind of gave hope and inspiration to you to join. Now, let's talk about how you started your firm, Bayes PLLC. And I understand that it's from Bayes' theorem.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. At that time when we found our firm, so as you can see, choose a name is one of the very important thing, right? And for also for most of U.S. firms, their name from by their founding partner's last name. So that's kind of the tradition or the most common way to do it. But when we start when we start to think about the name, I think we all agree that we do that way. Well, I think one of the reason is that even though we haven't started our firm yet, we already start to imagine or envision what our firm can last for a very long time, even before we retire. so we want to keep our name stable or the same. We don't want to because we can imagine we will have new people to join, new partners, and even after we retire, maybe someone else will take our position. So we don't want our name to keep changing because of the people being changing. So we want to have keep the same brand for many years. So that's what I think that's one of the reasons we kind of give up the traditional way of doing it instead of using our last name. And also, at least in Virginia, I think at DC and Maryland, that's okay. I know in some states they still require you to do that, but not here. And in terms of then we start to think about what are the name we can use. And I think eventually we choose the Bayes, exactly as you said, it's from the Bayes theorem. And the reason is we are an IP boutique firm, right? And for IP boutique firm, the most important thing are two things. One is the technology, and one is also the legal. And for Bayes, that's a very important conditional probability for. And that's also kind of like a foundation for artificial intelligence, AI. AI is very, very popular nowadays.
It's prevalent right now.
Yeah, but not that popular like 7 years ago when we found the firm. But still, we think that's kind of show our focus or our strengths on the technology side. And also another interesting, I think Manny has been saying that the Bayes, the probability conditional probability is also a theory that can be used in the trial. The trial outcome is also a kind of application of the conditional probability in the legal system. So that's kind of become a natural bridge between the technology and the justice or legal system. And also there's a third reason is because for Bayes that the name, if we say in Chinese, it's a very similar to the meaning of always win.
What is it in Chinese?
That's called 百胜.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Like 100 wins.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also people came to the lawyer. That's exactly what they are looking for. So because of the reason, we eventually use the name, and
it's almost like the Japanese banner is right, must win.
It's not just must win; it's we always win. So yeah,
wow.
So that's kind of like
a bit competitive, hey?
Right.
That's really interesting. Who started first?
That's Mandy, and maybe came a little bit back to my story again. So,
story. Yes.
Yeah, at that time when I about to graduate, as I said, one of the reasons for me to decide to pursue this career path is I read a post Mandy wrote at a online forum sharing her experience how to transition into the patent law field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And actually, that post is actually very famous in the Chinese patent law community. A lot of people, when they enter into the field, was inspired by that post. And I probably go one step further than other people. I actually contacted her and I said, I read your post. I'm very impressed. I want to do the same thing. And can you share me some career advice? We had several phone calls, and she shared some very helpful tips about like interview, how you choose a firm, things like that. And so we become friends because of that. And even though we live in different cities at that time, she was at the DC area and I was still at Midwest, Ohio, Chicago at that time. But every time when I have some moments that in my career I need to get some advice, I always come to her, call her or send her a message to look for her suggestion or opinion. So she became kind of like a role model in my career. And then I think after I moved to DC, we started to know each other in person. And even though we work at different firms, but we had a very good interaction, professionally and personally. So we become very, very good friends and trust each other. And I remember that was about 2017. That's about 1 year before we start our firm. And I think she sent a message to me, said, can we have a chat? And because at that time, we work at different firms, but actually it's like just one across the street. So it's very close
yes,
by.
I know where you guys were.
Yeah. So we had a chat at, I remember it's a Starbucks at the first floor of my building. And she said, I want to leave my current firm and start a new firm. Are you interested to join, to work with me? I was very excited at the time I heard news, and because she tell me the reason why she want to leave the current firm and what her vision for the new firm, and that's matched exactly with me. And I had a very similar situation or the challenge she was facing at that time as well. So I can completely understand her concerns. She imagined how the new firm will be. also align with my vision as well. So I don't have any hesitation actually. To be honest, I just went back home to get the permission from my wife.
Of course, you have to get permission from the wife.
I tell her, let's do it. I still keep a email she sent it to me. I think that's like 2 months before we start the firm. It's a very short one, and said let's start something new. I don't know if she still keep the message, but I'm still keeping the email.
Do you keep that for inspiration or just reminder of when you start your journey?
I would say for both.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's very very important moment in my career. So that's kind of how that will start to spin.
I mean, that is really interesting. What was the vision when you said that you both want to start something new, and her vision and yours have so much commonalities? Right. So can you kind of describe your vision?
Yeah,
when you first started?
I can probably spend like the whole day to talk
Oh, no, we don't have a whole day.
But I think that there are several things I think we will both consider very important at our current firm. One is in terms of the people we are working together. We want to create a very flexible environment to everyone, and eventually to make everyone working at the firm to be happy. So that's the most important thing. And when I say flexible, I mean, for example, the flexible in terms of where you can work, and what type of work you want to work on, and how much you want to work. I mean, for example, we actually had the remote work choice at the first day when we started the firm. So way before the pandemic starts, and after pandemic, we still have that policy, and the firms is completely set up to support that remote work setup. And we also, I mean, and at the same time, we are not a virtual firm. We have we have
you have an office,
working office. So we created the environment they can work wherever they want to work. And also, we give the opportunities for people to work on whatever they want to work with. Because, I mean, even though we are still just an IP firm, but we are a full-service IP firm. We do patent drafting, prosecution, litigation. We do post-grant works. We do opinion works. We do trademark works. So people working at our firm, if they only want to do very specific work for a very specific client that they feel comfortable, that's completely fine. We love that. But there are some people, they want to try different things. They want to have a diverse types of works. And we have the opportunity for them, because we are not just a firm only doing one type of work or for one type of or for one client. We have a very diverse client base, different technologies, different types of works. So if people want to work on different things, that's completely fine. We don't have any requirement that you can only stick with a particular partner or particular client. So that's another layer of flexibility. And also, we have the flexibility in terms of how much work you want to do, right? We have people who want to get a big paycheck, and we can ensure that you have enough work if you want to work more. And at the same time, we have people, they have a family to balance. They don't want to have the billable requirement that she or he has to meet. And if you have a work-life balance requirement, you can work as much as you want. So this is another layer of the flexibility for the people. And this on the people side. On the client side, and again, we have some I think the uniqueness, or at least the strength for the law firm at our level. For example, we consider ourselves as the trusted advisor in terms of the vendor to the client. So meaning that the client come to us not just to have someone who can cheaply rubber stamp their name to get something filed, or just get a patent number there. We want to add value and use our past experience, our expertise to really help them to get something valuable for them. So that's one thing very important for us. And also, we consider ourselves best at both ends. When we say both ends, one is we mean on both the legal and the technology side. So we have 4 partners, and 3 of them we have a Ph.D. degree in engineering, and so we're strong on the technology side, and also like 2/3 of our patent attorney and agents have all advanced degree, either master or Ph.D. So we can do very sophisticated technology things. And of course, we also on the strong on the legal side. And also, when we see at both ends, it's also on the both the drafting and the prosecution side, as well as on the enforcement side. So that's also, I think, very important for client, because every time when we draft or the prosecuting patent for the clients, what we think about, if this patent goes into litigation, if we are litigating that patent, or if we are doing post-grant work on that patent, what kind of challenge we will facing, right? What are the issues to come up? That directly help us to improve the quality of the patent we are drafting or we prosecuting. We all had experience on the other side, on the end of that patent. And vice versa. So when we do the patent litigation and the post-grant works, we can also think about from the prosecutor perspective, right? Where those issues come from originally, or how you can best utilize the patent laws on that issue. So that's also something unique, at least at our level or size of the law firm. I say too much about that, but even before we start the firm, Mandy and I, we already start to talk about, and we have been implementing and doing that for 7 years, and we think we will be continue doing that.
So in a few days, Bayes is going to turn 7. Such a proud milestone. What, in your opinion, has been the most significant change during this 7-year journey? So you personally, and also for the firm.
Personally, I think for me, to be honest, I think the most important thing I've been learning and still learning, I think, is to delegating things. Because, when we start a firm, I don't have having been working as a partner at big law firms. Even though I had some experience to supervising the junior people, but still I don't think I have gone enough training on that. So, but as the firm grows, when we start from like 4 people to now we have over 30 people, and we have over 200 clients and a lot of matters doing every day. So it's become very important for me to start to learn how to delegate things and how to supervise and efficiently and effectively. So I think that's probably the most challenging, the biggest challenge I have been facing, and I think I'm keeping improving, but still I'm trying to learning from other people how to see how they doing that. But I think that's probably the biggest change I have been made and are still making. And in terms of the firm, to be honest, as I mentioned, as the vision or how we imagine the firm to be, I think that we have been keep doing the same thing, and also the firm has been expanding and growing. Both from in terms of the number of the people we have, number of the clients we have, the number of the cases we are doing, or type of cases we are doing. It's all expanding. It's actually beyond our expectation, to be honest. So, of course, because of that, you are facing a lot of things, not from like a legal or practicing, more from like a management. That's running a company, as you can imagine. It's it's a
little daunting sometimes.
Right, exactly. So those are the things. I don't want to say it's been changing, but at least I think that's something we as partner, we are all learning how to running a business. It's not even the law firm, but again, that's a small business. That's their business. You need to make sure it's running efficiently and effectively. And I think that the challenges we have is more, but from the legal or the practice perspective, I think we keep our vision and keep our what we are doing, and we are doing well as we expected. So that's how I'm gonna answer that question.
Now let's talk about how you and I knew Mandy and I knew Gavin because we were from the same firm. You want to kind of share how we actually started connecting and then eventually work together on cases? I think Mandy may have recommended me to you,
right,
and you have some post-grant proceedings that need to be filed.
Right.
Obviously, we will not talk about anything confidential, but how did that conversation kind of get started? Because I'm always curious.
The word you just used is exactly the word I want to use, the trust. I think that's the most important thing for the legal industry. And I think you are the same type of person. So you can see we start to build up the trust between each other.
I think one thing that I definitely want to comment on is that the work product and the quality, it's very impressive because I'm just going to really just talk about this. I've seen the writing, and sometimes I've seen variants of writing and work product. And consistently, I have seen like really good briefing, and also in terms of how we collaborate and mesh our timeline, especially for overseas clients, I can trust that process. Most of the time when people, this is one of the jokes that I always talk about when I was at firms. Final is never finals. It's like, oh, this is the 15th edition of the final. So, that's kind of sometimes it's like when you're ready to click the button, it's a very high stress moment.
Right.
It's like when you're getting ready to click the moment, you get a phone call and then basically said, don't file just yet. I've never experienced that with you. We have good communication, and also in the old days, I didn't really say as many no's, and instead I just become resentful. And now I'm just like, oh, this is my blackout dates. Cannot do this on this time. I think being a small business owner, an Asian American, it's really kind of difficult to say that because you might lose a client. But what I decided to reframe this, that you are communicating openly so that people can actually adjust expectation. I think managing expectation is huge. I was actually listening to Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks, when I was driving here. And one of the things that I never really thought about is that he said that in 15 minutes, I could be in a room and I could pack whether that person is a winner or loser.
Okay.
Well, no, it's Kevin O'Leary. And the other thing that he talked about is that entrepreneurs, they're not here to make money. I'm thinking like that, what are they here for? They are entrepreneurs because they enjoy the process and also having their freedom. The freedom to choose.
I agree.
And I completely agree with that. I never really thought about, I'm not going to be Jeff Bezos anytime soon or, Sarah Blakely. But one of the things that he also talked about was like when Barbara Cochran was basically saying, oh, you have to kind of coach the people and like on the Shark Tank. But he goes like, no, I'm just going to tell them what it is, because if I am not being honest with them, they're going to go out and fail anyway.
Right.
So I think that sometimes those are hard lessons. And especially for Asian American, Chinese, the concept of 面子.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, I cannot suffer a public humiliation. Now I can do that.
Right.
I think that there's so much to learn from people who can speak candidly. If it's a bad thing, maybe the feedback should be given in private. But I think that there's a lot to be learned, especially as entrepreneurs and firm founders. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that's especially for Asian American and for like Chinese, because of their culture, right? People tend to try to phrase things that nicely or kind of like hesitant to say something too directly. But again, I think that at least in the business environment, a professional environment, I think that's actually something that we all need to improve. As you said, that's open discussion, right? Focusing on the things, not the people. That's very important to make everybody save everybody's time. I think that's also something we are learning and we are trying improving, and also something we try to make as part of the firm culture. I remember when we do the like annual review for people, this is one of like the most common comments or suggestion we give to people is we want to have more open communications. If you have anything either happy or not happy, just feel to talk to partners. You can talk to who you trust most. It doesn't matter, but we want to know what do you think about either another colleague or partner or the client. If something make you concerned, not happy, we want to hear from that. So that I think that's very important. We run a law firm, and this communication again, it's not only just among the people working here, it's also between the client and also between other people we're working. For example, between us, I think that's very, very important. Those kindly communication. And actually, I really, I mean, we do have, for example, people there when we give them works, and he can speak directly to me, say, sorry, I don't think I can take that work because of X, Y, Z reason. I feel appreciated. You can tell me directly, and then I can go to other people. Instead of you overpromise, you said, okay, I can do it, but in fact you cannot do it, or you will feel something that is unhappy about it, or eventually, or you cannot deliver it. That's actually the real nightmare for everyone. So I completely agree with you. That's something very important to run a business and to make everybody happy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of personal growth that people as professional need to learn, especially in such a pressure cooker in litigation.
Right.
Most of the time, I can't imagine people really want to overpromise and underdeliver. But I think part of the thing is like the culture, the legal space,
Right.
or maybe financial too. Anything that is high stress, medical too. So basically everything. I think people sometimes they are afraid to speak up if they cannot deliver. Just like, oh, if I tell you that I cannot do filing on this day, or I'm going to go take like 10 days vacation, don't bother me, or I won't have internet or anything like that. Would that part of business go to somewhere else? Or would my clients think that I don't care about them? But I think actually you can't serve other people when you are like half empty, right, or completely empty. Right. And I think that protecting your own space and respecting your own boundary, it has to come first. I mean, obviously, there are times that you will have to compromise because that's just how things are. But you cannot compromise your core principles and values.
Exactly. Yeah. I like the word you just used. Respect. I think that's very important. This very active respect. I think that's very important. So I think you also mentioned that when we work together, I always try to give you an earlier notice, right? When I will give you something, or when I say final, I try to make sure that's the final I can give to you. I think that's very important. Is I would respect people we work together, just as I expect get the same respect from you, right? So I think that's very important. And also, as you mentioned, so if you keep compromise, and I mean, one is whether practically if you can do it or not, right? If practically you cannot do it, then your overpromise will hurt everybody. Second, even you can just push yourself and to do it. Can you do it every time, right? How many times can you do the same thing? Can you until you burn out yourself, right? If there's something that cannot last forever, then that you should just let it stop as early as possible.
Well, I think also if you don't respect yourself, you ended up resenting others.
Yes, exactly.
So I was like that before. So speaking from experience, who's to blame? Myself. Who is this Taylor Swift, anti-hero? The problem is me. We kind of switch our topic into law firm management. To kind of close this, I wanted to kind of hear your thoughts on where AI and innovation will take us in the patent space, in your opinion.
Again, that's $1 million question, everybody.
Yeah, okay.
Just from my very, very limited experience or thought on that, I think that's definitely a very useful tools to make the work more efficient and effective. That's definitely for sure. And also, I think every lawyer, a law firm should keep the progress of the advancement of the technology, so that will make everybody's job more easier. That's for sure. And I understand that on the other side that of that question is also whether that will replace attorneys' work or how that will change the industry. To be honest, I don't know that's what will happen in 5 years or 10 years. I think, to be honest, I don't know. But I think legal system a little bit different, because that's something, it's not like a purely technology. There are always like human parts in the illegal industry that at least for now, I don't think they can be replaced, or they shouldn't be replaced by a purely artificial intelligence. I think that's the uniqueness of the legal or the justice system. Mm-hmm. So I don't. That's why I don't. At least in my career path, I actually don't too worried or scared that my job will be replaced by a robot. That's something I can see. But definitely, as a tools, I do think that is helping and will help us a lot.
Besides patent law, engineering, what do you do for fun?
I mean, that's also a very good question since I practiced law for 15 years, and actually until last year, I started to think about those questions because in the past 14 years, everything in my mind is just work. And it's always the top priority. And you probably know that every time when we go to like a vacation for us just means you work at a different place.
Yeah. You just change geography.
Right. Yeah, and because people used to have like out of office message, right? Automatic things. When we send people, they will say, okay, I'm out of office, blah blah, return on certain days. In my 15 years career, I never set up out of office for once. Because even I'm out of office or on vacation, my email or cell phone always open. So the client never know I'm on vacation because I don't think that's good or bad, but that's just what I have been doing for the past 4 years. But I mean, since from last year, I started to make some changes. You probably know that I have lost like 40 pounds in the past years. I started to pick up those exercises I've been interested since before I was doing, but I've been discontinued for a long time. So I think that's one reason is because of the health concern, and also I started to think about is that sustainable for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years. So yes, I started to pick up a lot of things. I started to play tennis, basketball, swimming, going to the gym, and also some other kind of the things I have been like doing before. But I do understand that the legal profession is very, very crucial. I would say it's
high stress, so
right.
All the more important reason to take care of yourself.
Yeah, you need to keep always at the highest speed just to maintain the level you're at. But I've started to learning from last year that how to do it probably in a more wise different way to doing that. But I think I have changed a lot both from the mindset and also the looking to things.
I think sometimes we are way too critical of ourselves.
Yes.
And the culture does not help. Right. Everything is a lot of it is very image driven. Right. And I'm my harshest critic, but I think others are not necessarily less harsh. Right. So I think that trying to tune out that soundtrack is very difficult. I wanted to thank you for your time, and this has been such a pleasure to chat and learn more about you and how you started your firm with the other founders at Bayes. So thank you so much, Wayne. I hope that you had fun.
I had a lot of fun, to be honest. That's such a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much, Wayne.
Thank you.